which will be done. There's nothing. That's a really important lesson to learn. We think, oh boy, no, everything that we're going through is, people experienced it, the same thing, just different kind of story, same experiences though. And so when he looks at it, the big question is, what advantage does man have in all his labors on this earth, what he does under the sun, right? Because you live here, you got 70, 80 years, then you're dead. We've seen those chapters. You look at a dog and you look at a man, what's the difference? Nothing. They're both what? Dead. And so, it kind of makes a kind of a sad picture, but this, again, it's as if there is no God, because that's what's going to give purpose and meaning to life. So often we say, well, if I only had fill in the blank, oh, then I'd be happy, life would be great. Solomon had what? All power, because he's king. All the money, because he was the richest guy in the world probably at the time. And he had what? All the wisdom. He didn't show it sometimes. He could test everything. And what was his answer? If I only had this, he had it. And it what? Vanity. There's no real meaning of life under the sun without God. So when we look at this, we're going to saw last week that wisdom exceeds folly. And there's this wise word for wisdom. Chapter 8, verse 17 is going to be like a summary verse, okay? So I'm going to read it first. He said, I saw every work of God. So he's including God in this picture now, right? I concluded that man cannot discover the work that has been done under the sun. Now, what he's going to say in this chapter, you're trying to make sense of the world so you can play by its rules and get ahead. And sometimes the world makes no sense. All the rules just go out. And you're like, why is that happening? Why is that happening? And the answer is, you cannot discover and figure it out. And if that's your goal, like I want to figure out how this all works so I can have a successful life, you're on a dead-end road. Because Solomon, the wisest man in the world, said what? No. Even though a man should seek laboriously, and that's what he's done. He says he will not discover, and though the wise man should say, I know, he can't discover. Now, God so ordained this that you can never figure it out totally, this life under the sun. Why do you think he made it that way? There's one answer.
Because he has all knowledge and man doesn't.
Yeah, but why did he make it so you couldn't?
For us to trust.
Yeah.
That's so you lift your head up and look above the sun and start trusting God, who has all, who did make it. Because as long as we think we can figure this out, we're not going to look to God. But it's so created, this world, and there's enigma. Things just go one way, then we see go the opposite way. Like, why does that happen? We're going to see that in this chapter, right? And it's all put there so you can start trusting not in yourself, not in government, not in our own wisdom, but trust in God. So that's what we're going to do here. Because we're looking for wisdom that makes in a world that doesn't make sense. We can have wisdom, and that's what we're going to learn through here. So we're going to look at wisdom make life better. The second section of this chapter, wicked often appear to win. Do we see that in this world?
All the time.
And that, like, what? I thought God's in charge. Well, then also we see that the really thing you can do is just enjoy what God has given you right now, because that's the best it gets. All right, so we're going to look at that together. So look in chapter 8, and we're going to see that wisdom is so much better than foolishness in verse 1 through 4. We'll read that together, okay? Chapter 8, verse 1. Who is like the wise man, and who knows the interpretation of a matter? The word interpretation means how things work, and how it how can you explain what is happening? A man's wisdom illumines him. In other words, makes him shine. That's interesting language. And causes stern face to beam. What would a stern face be indicative of? Someone that's what? Serious or angry? But when you have wisdom, you have a whole different attitude towards this world that we see. All right? But people that feel like they're victims and tossed here and about, they just get angry. But that should not be the case of a Christian. So I say, verse 2, keep the command of the king because the oath before God. He's going to talk about submitting to government authorities. Verse 3, do not be in a hurry to leave him, the king. Do not join in an evil matter, for he will do whatever he pleases. Who's the he? The king. So in other words, I'm going to suggest, don't you plot to resist the king, because he's going to do whatever he wants, whether you like it or not. And you're going to lose your life, basically. Verse 4, since the word of the king is authoritative, who will say to him, what are you doing? Why'd you do that? Now, let me ask this. No, don't answer. But I'm asking, how many of you complain about the government and the policies of people in the Congress, the Senate, and the president? I don't care who's in term, last term or this term. You all do. And he's saying, stop it. Why do you do that? Are you going to see unrighteousness, injustice in the government? Yes. And basically, the lesson we're going to learn, wisdom in a world that makes no sense, get over it and start looking above. And that's the way you're going to have a face that glows. So we'll look at this together. Wisdom changes a person. It changes your whole disposition. Because you see the end game, you don't get caught up in what's happening right now. Because when we look at what's happening now, immediately, I don't care if it's crime on the street, my pocketbook, or the government, or war in Iran, it just causes what? Consternation and worry and anxiety, and you're a mess. And so he says, when you have wisdom and you see things from above the sun looking down, it changes everything, and this consternation turns to a heart of peace. And you'll be able to really enjoy life amidst all this chaos. Because we do live in a fallen world. And that's the only thing you can expect is evil, because the God of this world is promoting it. So when we look at this, wisdom, when you get to see what's really going on and who's in charge, it changes our disposition altogether. And that actually changes your face too, right? Have you met people that doesn't matter what's going on, they always got a smile? And it's sometimes it's nurturing, and sometimes it's nature, their DNA, but most often it's because they understand what Psalm is saying. Because they have the peace of God. Oh, isn't there a song like that? I got the joy, joy, joy deep down in my heart. We sing that, but sometimes we're lying when we sing it, because there's no joy deep down in our heart. We have to work on that, right? Because the fruit of the Spirit is what? Love, joy. Imagine that. So when we look at this, wisdom is always going to respect authority above it. And this is really important, because ultimately, who puts kings in charge? Presidents or dictators? Who puts them in charge? What chapter do we know that from? Whoa, Romans 13 is what I'm looking for, but you're all right. Daniel and 1 Corinthians, but Romans 13, just real quickly peek there. We're not going to do Romans class here, but you need to be aware of this. When Paul says obey the government authorities, chapter 13 and verse 1. Hi, Zenobia. You can teach class if you want. Let every person be in subjection to the governing authorities. Chapter 13, verse 1. For there is no authority except from God, right? Amen? He's in charge of everything. And those that exist, that's on our earth, are established by who? By God. Therefore, he who resists authority has opposed the ordinance of God, and those who have opposed receive condemnation upon themselves. That's strong language. Notice in verse 4, it's talking about government, is a minister, your Bible might say servant of God to you for good. If you do good, don't be afraid. But if you do evil, expect to get what? Punished, right. Now, does every king, every president, does every political authority submit to the will of God in all things? No. So are you going to see injustice and unrighteousness? Yes. And God's in charge. He will deal with them. Our job is just to what? Submit and let God handle the governments. Because when they get utterly wicked, what will he do? He'll remove them and put someone else in place. All right? That's his job. Yes.
It's amazing, the authorities, they have an ignorance to the Word of God. They act like they know what the Word of God says.
Right.
But in ignorance, they say things that, again, we're to judge the spirits
Right.
based on what they say. But the recent one, and again, not to be
Yeah.
political, but what's this, with the one that just died.
Yes. Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham. So here's the government coming out and they're saying, well, Lindsey's looking down right now from heaven and this and that. Well, that would not sync with the scriptures to begin with.
Well, you're right. Now, but I don't know where he's looking down from. So we're not even going to go there because it could be true, but you can't say it for certain, and that's your point.
That's what I'm
Right,
saying,
right.
because the Bible doesn't support it.
Well, we don't know what kind of faith he had or didn't have.
Right, but still, you're not going to, if you're in heaven and you're with God, where there's no...
Oh, you're saying you don't even look down on us, right? There's no indication that you look down on heaven on the earth, right?
Well, that's what I'm
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't miss that part. Because that's true. Because people go, can people in heaven see us? And the answer is what? I don't know. I don't think they can, but I don't know. Where does the Bible say one way or the other? It doesn't.
Well, I would say with Lazarus, it gives a very good indication. Jesus gave that as an example, that you cannot see from one side to the other. Right.
Well, I don't know. The rich man saw the other side. He saw Lazarus,
The
didn't he?
rich man did, but not
All right.
Lazarus.
Okay, you're getting off topic. The whole point is right. They don't understand.
They don't.
We'll agree on that. All right? Well, our job is not to fix government. It's just to trust God. All right? So keep the command of the king because of the oath. And that's interesting. Julie.
I don't know if it's going to be all right, but I think you have to believe in God because God commanded all things correctly.
Correct.
He wouldn't say that if that was true.
Very well said. If this wasn't the right thing to do, he wouldn't say it. Right. Well said. We have to trust God. He's in charge. Man, that's the first statement you've made in a long time. I'm just so happy. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. All right. We'll talk about this oath in a second. So don't be in a hurry to leave him. That means you're before the king. You don't like what he's doing, so you just storm out, right? Don't join an evil matter. That would be probably someone that we're going to try to overthrow this king or subvert him, right? Because he's going to do what? Ever he pleases. Now, we live in a different society because we have appeals when it comes to justice. We have courts and all that. Rome, Paul, remember, he appealed to Caesar. And why did he go to Caesar? There's one reason. Because he was what? A Roman citizen. None of the Jews had that. When they compelled you to do something, the Roman, you had to do it whether you liked it or not. And if you resisted, it's off for your head. Remember, John the Baptist got killed because he was speaking evil against Herod, or Pilate. Herod, yeah. All right? So, the truth. Sorry, he considered it as evil. You're right. He's speaking the truth. So the word of the king is authoritative. So you don't have a position to go, what are you doing? Do we do that often? Complain about what they're doing. Now, whether it's right or wrong, it's not our job. Our job is to what? Submit and lead a quiet and peaceful life and pray for those in authority. That's 1 Timothy chapter 2. So when he looks at this, don't be in a hurry to leave him. And often that's what happens. And if the king found out you were subverting him, what's going to happen to you and all your group? Dead, right? That's the way it happens, right? He did that to his brother. How about Ahab and Jezebel? When the king wanted Naboth's vineyard, what did Jezebel say? You're the king, kill him and take it. And that's what he did. Now, did God deal with him? Yes. But the king's going to do whatever he wants. Yes.
You know, I know that God said it, and I adhere to it, that I'm not only supposed to
Right.
I need to vote.
Well, in America, you can vote. We have elections every year. But if you're in Cuba, can you do that?
No, you have.
No.
No,
If you're in China, can you do that? Oh, they have, even in Russia, Putin's been elected how many times? Yeah, right. He poisons the opposition and they die, so. But your point too, I'll just make the one exception because you brought it up. I must obey God rather than men. So when government says do something that God says don't, you always choose to obey. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Nebuchadnezzar had a law: when you hear the music, bow down to the idol. They all bow down. Who's the only three standing? Oh, there they are. You can't hide. And he threw them in the fiery furnace. Right. Well, all three, and an angel was down there with him. So that's the only exception, right? But we make exceptions for everything because I don't like it. That's not what I want. He's not my party. No. We're citizens of heaven. We're not Americans, first and primary. We're citizens of heaven on a work visa down here. You know what I mean? We're here on a mission, a work trip, on our way to heaven. That's the way we got to see it. Yeah.
what am I supposed to do if these lunatics get voted in and it's communism?
Pray to God. That's all you can do. I know you're gonna hate it, and things could go south. Pray to God. You have the right in America. You can vote. You can, be political and rally people to vote. But you never do anything beyond that. The only things that are lawful, right? But I think as Christians, we need Christian politicians. That'd be great. But most of all, we need to just trust God and spread His word. That has to be the primary focus. Everything's secondary. Yes.
It just reminds me of a couple kings before this.
Yeah.
Where you got Saul anointed, and Saul starts off as the great king.
Yeah.
The great Christian king, the king that's following after God, and he goes crazy, and what happens? Well, God takes care of it, and he anoints David.
That's right.
And then you get one of the best kings Israel ever saw.
And in the meantime, what did Saul try to do to David? Kill him, because he saw him a threat to his throne. So wisdom says, stay out of the radar of the king and the government. Lead a quiet life so you're not always being watched. Obey the government as much as you can, right? Yes. Pay your taxes. Obey the speed limit.
Regardless.
Don't park. I'll tell that story later. Yeah, don't park cattywampus because you'll get anyway.
No matter who our leaders are.
Yes.
Look at God appointed Saul, anointed Saul.
Well, Saul was okay for a while until he disobeyed God, right?
Our president.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
For the good of the people. And guess what happened?
Nebuchadnezzar was one of the worst kings there were as far as being evil, and God said, he's my servant. Nebuchadnezzar came to his senses about the only one true living God, and that's another story. But yes, Mariano.
I think this is my chance to make comments because I'm not teaching.
Okay, we're staying.
I think of the example of Jesus when Pilate
Yeah.
was questioning Jesus about, are you the king and all of that? And Pilate said, do you not know that I have authority? And Jesus said, well, you have authority because it's given to you from heaven.
That's right.
So there's a good reminder for us that the authority that we have, even if it's evil or not,
Comes from heaven.
coming from God.
That's right. That's right. And God used Pilate and all that to get Jesus killed. Let's be honest. It was his plan, right? If it was an uprighteous, just governor, they wouldn't have killed Jesus. He would have released him, right?
Well, I think with that too, he raises people up and he brings them down. So
That's right.
to answer Bob Rawls,
Just pray.
and so if they get in, just
Yeah.
pray. God
How fast did the dictator of Venezuela get removed?
like
Boom. Now, was that God's? I don't know, but it happened so quick. When God wants someone to be gone, they're gone. And I don't have a telegram or a memo from God that he said, I sent Trump to do that. But it happened that fast. Right? Yes.
God puts presidents in presidents.
Yes.
What would you do why Biden?
What?
Why Biden?
I see. He asked why Biden. Okay. Now my answer is going to be where he started. God has so fixed it so you cannot discover what he's doing.
That's right.
The answer is I don't know. I don't have that kind of wisdom, and you can work as hard as you can. You're never going to figure it out. Just trust God and be busy about what we're supposed to do.
Amen.
He's gone, right? And maybe we had 4 years of Biden so everyone would wake up. I don't know. It has woke up America, hasn't it? In many ways, spiritually. God's in charge. So I can't answer the question. But it's a great question. But what he's going to say is don't worry about it. We can talk about it, but don't get worked up about it. It just kind of bugs me when I get worked up because I turn TV off because I go on vacation or on a trip and I don't listen to any news. And guess what? When I get back, everything's still the same. I just got to have some peace for a while and quiet. You know, and it's still the same old things going on. All right? So notice, in the ancient subjects back then, no freedom of speech, no legal right to organize a protest, no free press to criticize the king, no regular elections, no independent judicial appeal. And when you got in prison, there was nothing you could do. That's why he says what? Obey the king, or else wisdom says you're going to get in trouble. And it's really true today, all right? So there it is, Ecclesiastes. He also says in chapter 10, just a preview, don't curse the king in your bedchamber. When you're in bed, you're like, oh, that king, and just I hope God just strikes him dead, whatever. Because the bird of the heavens will carry that sound, the winged creature will make the matter known to the king, and you're going to be in trouble.
Jack, it's called Alexa.
Yeah. Alexa's listening, oh boy. Now, there's a conspiracy theory, right? But it's just like, no matter what you say, it's going to be found out by someone. If you're organizing something in secret, they're going to find out. So he says, don't. Yes.
If you're going to curse and do that in your bedroom chamber, if you will, you're inviting Satan in to run your...
That's right. You're going to become a wicked, ugly man, and wisdom illumes you, right? There's too many ugly Christians. All right. So, 1 Samuel said David made a covenant with them. That's the king of Hebron. We find that Jehoiada made a covenant between the Lord, the king, and the people. And the sons of King of David pled allegiance to King Solomon. So when it says when you made an oath before God, they actually did. They pled allegiance to their king, so keep it. If you give an oath, keep it. You know, and how many have pledged allegiance to the flag? And your allegiance to God, but you're saying, well, I'm in America, I'm just going to obey the laws of the land. And so what is God asking you to do? Keep your oath. So I don't like wearing a seatbelt. Wear the stupid seatbelt. I don't care, because that's what you said you would do, right? Pay your taxes. I don't like going 55 because the highway's fast enough, I go 80. No, keep your oath is that's wisdom talking. It doesn't always make common sense, because we always complain about the stupid rules because they don't make sense a lot of time, do they?
No.
Just keep your oath. That's wisdom. And then you get to be busy about doing what really matters. Now, wisdom knows timing too. Verse 5. It says, there is a proper time and procedure for every delight, though a man's trouble is heavy upon them. Delight would be the solution. You got all these problems and you want something that'll bring you joy again. Let's act now. No, there's a proper time and procedure for everything. And if you act hastily before it's time, you're just going to get yourself in trouble and it's going to fail. Verse 7, no one knows what will happen. Who can tell them when it will happen? So do you know when the next storm is going to come and knock all the power out?
No.
Is it going to happen?
Yes.
Maybe an ice storm.
Yes.
But you can't tell me when. So how can you do anything about it? Nothing. Just be prepared all the time, I guess. Verse 8, no one has authority to restrain the wind with the wind, or authority over the days of death. That means when you die. No one has, there's no discharge in the time of war, and evil will not deliver those who practice it. So there's some things he says, you got to learn how to obey when even you don't like what's happening. Isn't that a hard lesson to learn? Wisdom says, even if you disagree, you obey. So he gives us 4 things. And I have to look at this one because I hear it a lot. So I picked a plane because it's easy. So, hang on. How many like flying? How many are scared to death to get on a plane? Okay, I'm talking to you. Sorry. And so a person gets on the plane, and they're flying, and they're all worked up because when you look at them, see that person right there? That's some people I know. And they're, get me out of here, right? And you ask them, why are you so scared? And what's the answer? Well, and they're because the plane might crash, right? Now, is that a possibility?
Yes.
But do you know if it's going to happen? No. And if you know, do you know when it's going to happen? There will be a plane crash in the next 10 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
But do you know when it's going to happen and what plane?
No.
Is it safer to fly than drive? Yes. But since people are afraid, you go, you're safe, the plane's not going to crash. It doesn't matter what you say, because they're going to come back and say, well, but what if it does? Right? Well, if it does,
It won't matter.
then here's my message. If the plane's going down, now it's time to worry. It's over. But until that, there's a time for everything, right? The time now is just to have a happy face, because you don't have to drive 5 days. You get there in 5 hours, right? Not a scared face, because the plane's not going down. If it does, then we'll give you notice. Now you can worry. You know, there's a time for everything. Ezra.
Let's say you're on the plane to go on vacation. There's 2 things that can happen. You're either going to arrive to your vacation or whatever, or you're going to meet Jesus. So you know what?
That's right. That's right.
I just wanted to say, out of respect,
To the phobic people in here.
excellence,
It's scary, but they're designed to do that. But it doesn't matter what we say about the design of plane. It's still scary. And we have to learn timing. When it's time for you to die, guess what?
You're going to die.
There's nothing you can do. It's over. So just enjoy the ride.
but then even if
I mean, seriously? That's wisdom shines your face. So here's, learn to live what you can't change. Hudson.
It just reminds me of what Jesus says on the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 6.
Right.
When he's talking about, you're not going to add a single moment on your life by worrying.
Well, it's actually distract from your life, your length of your life, right? Good point. Remember that?
can you go back a slide?
Okay.
Oh.
Why? Why are you laughing? An airplane? He's the only one that noticed it. I'm glad you think that's funny. All right, learn to live with what you can't change. Is that a good life lesson? Because it's a messed up world. We have no control, and it doesn't make sense. Just learn to live in the chaos because God's in charge, right?
You'd be on that plane and it's not your time to die, but it's that guy's time to die. You're both going to die.
That's right. That's true, but it's both your time. Everyone on the plane, right. So look at this thing. I'm going to break them down. 4 things you can't control, he lists. First of all, you can't control the wind with the wind. Can you blow back? No. Can you control the wind? If it's going to blow, it's going to blow. All you can do is prepare.
You can blow back, but
It's not going to help.
yeah.
All right. Can you control the day of your death?
No. Some people have.
But sometimes Christians are the most anxious about their death than even people in the world. And it ought not be that way, because when your time comes, guess what? You have to learn there's a time for everything. And as Christians, we get to go home. We know that. I know it's scary because I've never died before. It's kind of a journey to the unknown. But angels are going to escort you. It's going to be okay. But you can't control it. How about when you're in the military and you're at war, you say, I don't like this. I'm scared about dying. I want to get a discharge. You go back home. Can you do that?
Yeah, they do.
No.
Yeah, they do.
When you're considered AWOL, deserter, and you're going to be put to death.
That's when they become a conscientious objector.
No, I'm talking about you're in the war and you say, I don't like this. I didn't sign up for this. I want to go back. No. Do you have any control? Because they had brutal wars. 50,000 men against another 50,000. A lot of people died hand-to-hand combat. It's not the sterile warfare we see today. And can you imagine a guy say, I'm afraid I'm going to die. I want to go home. Sorry. You can't change it. You just have to deal with it. The last one is what? He says, a lot of times people do evil and they get away with it, get away with it, get away with it, and the evil seems to prosper. And guess what? Eventually you're going to reap what you... And they don't know that. He said, well, I think I'm just going to do evil for a while because they seem to get along better than me. No. There's a time for everything. It's going to happen. Yes.
No reason to worry about dying because it's going to be better off.
Absolutely. If that's our faith, yes. I agree.
Yeah, Kester had a comment.
Who? Oh, I'm sorry, Esther. Well, I didn't see your hand, honestly.
I'm right up front here with you.
I'm sorry, I didn't you see it.
Well, I was going to say about that airplane thing. You know, there are sometimes airplanes that crash.
Yes,
Some people don't die because it's not their time.
yes.
And when I almost died, people have said, oh, Esther's tough. She, she's going to fight. Excuse me? I don't even know what I'm doing, much let alone the fight. Fight for what?
It just wasn't your time, was it?
No, it wasn't. But then this wisdom thing, King Solomon had a lot of wisdom.
Yes.
But in man, God didn't make us all stupid. He did give us some wisdom to think for ourselves.
Right.
I've often asked when I was bartending, these guys, some of them quit drinking. Because I've asked them, I says, why do you drink? Well, because I've got problems and I want to
Yeah.
forget about my problem. I says, really? Well, here's the thing. Did your problem come back tomorrow?
As soon as you sober up, they're worse than you had them
That's
before.
right. And then you're $1 short.
Yeah, yeah. You have more
And then
problems.
You've got, you've got a bad, what do you call that when you're too drunk?
Hangover.
So instead of
Right.
removing what is you're trying to remove, you just add on three.
That's right.
Three things. So how stupid.
Well, that's why he says here, the evil will not save those who practice it. You can't drink your problems away. It's just going to get worse. You're right.
But you add on to it.
Yeah. So how do you get wisdom? One, by living life and learning, and the other way is what?
Asking God.
Reading God's word, but the third one is praying for it. Because anyone lack wisdom, James 1:5, let him pray and ask of God, and it will be given to him, but let him ask in faith without doubting, because that man's double-minded, he should not expect to receive a thing. Now, the wisdom sometimes might come through trials. And everyone's had trials. I'm looking at some in the back row. I know you've had trials. And you're wiser now than you were before the trials. Right? So, I've seen and applied my mind to every deed that has been done under the sun where man has exercised authority over another man does hurt. Does that happen? People use their power and they hurt others just to prop themselves up. And he said, that's wrong. He saw rulers who dominate rather than serve, isn't that today? That punish rather than protect, exploit than be just, use their authority for personal advantage to get rich. We see that all the time. But he says, that happens. But I can't change it. What are you going to do about it? You can protest and get upset and mad all the time and have that terrible face, but wisdom says, that's right, and your face is going to shine. All right? So a wise person always knows when and how to act, because there's a time for everything. But he also recognizes that which nobody can control. And so I don't even try to fix things. So I know the proper time. I know what I can control in my life. And the only thing I can control is my reaction to things around me. That's the only thing I control. What I say, what I do, how I react. And what I do on purpose, right? Not a reaction, but what I plant. Human authority is limited and frequently abused. We know that. So notice what he says. Here I also see the wicked receiving honor. This is the bad thing. I've seen the wicked buried, and those who go in and out of the holy place, that'd be the temple, they're forgotten. There's no memorial. There's no big, you go to Israel, they have these big tombs that are highly decorated and ornated, and people pilgrimage them. Remember just the supreme leaders had his funeral this last week, and it's still going on, like 7 days. And there's the big image of him. I mean, this guy is the biggest leader of evil and terror around the world. But look at the honor he gets. And when you die, most people will never know you died. And it'll be a small group of people will be there. And then you'll be soon be what? Forgotten.
But the one that really remembers is important.
Yeah, but he said, that's just the way it is. And he said, it's futility. It's vain is what it is. And so we're going through verse 11. You know this one. This is so powerful. In verse 11, he said, also I see this problem. The sentence against an evil deed is not executed quickly. Therefore, the hearts of the Son of Mankind among them are fully given to do evil. What this is saying, if you don't punish the evildoer quickly, it's going to send a wrong message to everyone else. You can do evil and get away with it. Is that what's not happening in our country today? When people are released over and over and over on their own cognizant or on parole or whatever, probation, you know, it just teaches them there's no consequences for action. So this happened. This guy here in Oregon had 166 prior arrests, felonies, serious crimes. And finally, they sentenced him to a life in prison because he exposed himself at the Washington Square Mall. So, well, that wasn't that bad. It's because finally, after 166 prior arrests, they said, that's it. Because there's a law that says after that minute, we have to mandate life in prison. Well, why did you arrest him and punish him on the number 5 or number 4? Number 1 is where it should have been. And so this is just in Oregon, and we could just have the rest of our class, just example after example. Now, it used to be in the day that if you stole a horse, and at least in the movies, what would they do? They'd hang you right then. And what would that teach? Don't hang horse or steal horses, right? Hang horses. But he said, there's nothing under the sun. He said, I see it myself. People do something and they appeal and they sit there in jail because they have friends in high places and they're never punished. And it teaches you what? I did it and nothing happened, therefore I'm going to do it again and again and again. Now what can you do about that? 2 things, whine and cry, or what? Right. Get over it and just trust God.
Well, you can vote, like I said.
I understand, but you're right. Short of that, that's all. Here's another thing. Although the sinner does a evil 100 times, isn't that interesting? He saw probably one person doing evil 100 times. He's just not making this up. And may lengthen his life. Still, I know that it will be well for those who fear God and fear him openly. But it will not be well for the evil man. God's ultimately going to what? Hold everyone accountable. If you fear him, it's going to be okay. That evil person that seems like this life to get ahead and gets rich and everything looks good, God's going to hold him in account. And it will not be well for the evil man. Is that an understatement? When they stand before God, he said, depart from me to the lake of fire. I don't know you. It will not go well for them. We just have to remember that. We just have to just take care of ourselves. When evil is honored and justice is delayed, people become more confident to sin. I know that. But yet, human delay does not mean divine indifference. God still knows he's writing it down and he's going to take care of it. He is not indifferent. And that's true with our life too, right? So we're almost done, and we're going to get out of this. Here's one of the biggest enigmas. What's an enigma? A mystery. Yeah, a puzzle. Like, why did my wife marry me? She could have done so much better, right? Well, that's true. Thank you for recognizing that. Verse 14. There's a futility which is done on the earth, that is, righteous men to whom it happens according to the deeds of the wicked. On the other hand, the evil men to whom it happens according to the deeds of the righteous. I say this is futility. So when you do righteous, you think good things should happen to you. When you do evil, you should have punishment or consequence. And he said, I see it just the opposite. Wicked people prosper and righteous people get punished. What's with that? And does that happen? Yes. And he said, there's nothing new under the sun. And when you look at that, think about Joseph. What was his only problem in life? His dad loved him more than the others. That's not he didn't do anything wrong. And his dad told him, go check on his brothers, and he obeyed him, and he ends up in prison. And then how about Job? What did he do? What was his problem? He was just a righteous man. That's right. And of course, the third one, I don't know what Jesus looked like, but in him there was no sin. And so we see this, I can't figure it out. Why do bad things happen to good people? We ask that all the time, don't we? And why do good things happen to bad people? Like Psalm said, you cannot figure it out. You're never going to figure it out. It's just the way life is. It's sometimes random. Maybe it's the God of this world. I don't know.
Acceptance.
Huh?
Acceptance is the greatest peace of mind and heart.
That's right.
If you say, well, there's nothing I can do about it.
If you say it's not fair and you get bitter and angry, you're just going to be a miserable person. But this is the wisdom of Solomon of life under the sun in a world that makes no sense. You just have to take a bigger picture and just trust that God's in charge. Yes?
The bad thing that happened, you can always look at it from the perspective that whatever happened there may be used, maybe in the future to
Yeah.
somebody else.
Right.
What happened to you, and God allowed that to happen because you're going to be needed in a situation.
Here's a case in point. Why do we talk about these three guys? Because they're the great inspiration to all of us. The bad things that happen to good people. You know, especially Job, right? So, Job and then Jesus, right? So, let's finish up. Here's the advice when it's all said and done. In this chaotic world that makes no sense, verse 15, I commend pleasure. And pleasure is not being wild and crazy and a drunken idiot. But he says, just enjoy the good things that God has given you. This has been repeated over and over because to work with your hands is a blessing from God, to enjoy the fruit of your labor. We've read that already. We're going to even see it again. That's what he's going back to. It's just enjoy your family, enjoy your kids, enjoy your food because tomorrow you're going to die. That's the greatest gift. I commend pleasure. There's nothing good for a man under the sun except to eat and drink and to be merry. Just enjoy life. You know, some of the best things we had this last week when we were camping, we have a Hafer family camp. My sisters and their family extended, and Ezra went with us. It's getting bigger. There were 17 people, 5 campsites out in God's beautiful creation. And you know what the best thing was? When we all ate together, 17 of them just talked and just eat and drank and were merry. And it's just, those are the little blessings in life that God gives you that makes it all worthwhile. You've all experienced that, haven't you? Yeah?
I've been a Christian since I was 26.
Yeah.
I'm almost 84.
Nice.
And till I came here, I didn't know God.
Yeah.
This is the most joyful bunch of people I've ever been around.
Oh, that's sweet. It is joyful here. And then when we go out to eat together and have potlucks at your place, we're having a prayer meeting there. It's some of the best times, isn't it? The little pleasures in life. And Solomon, the richest man who had everything at disposal, 300 wives, 700 concubines. Oh, I had it backwards. He said, probably 700 wives made him miserable. But anyway, His greatest pleasure was what? Same thing we're doing here, eating, drinking, and just enjoying one another. Isn't that beautiful? And so when you look at it, here's the conclusion. He says, I saw every work of God. I've examined everything, because he's testing, right? And he says, I concluded you can't figure it out. You can't discover the work which has been done to the Son. You try to make sense, you see a pattern this way, then it just reverses itself, and the good suffer and the righteous, suffer, but the wicked prosper, and a good man dies young and a bad man lives forever. That makes no sense, does it? It's all for the things God has so orchestrated, you'll never figure it out. Even though man should seek laboriously, and that's what he's been doing, trying to find purpose for life under the sun without no God. And the answer is, you can't figure it out. Yes?
Yeah, I've noticed that every time situations happen in my life, it's the joys that come so high and the sadness that falls so low.
Right.
And it's like a roller coaster.
It is.